Good afternoon. This is an intraday recording from Jack, theartchart.net on Wednesday, the 27th of June. Our disclaimer, we do this for educational purposes only. We're here to share our technical analysis with you. We hope you can take some of what we're doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. We're not here to issue trading signals. First thing to mention today is that we're starting our July the 4th sale. That lasts for about a week. We tend to hold one every year, although, we're not religious about it. But what that means is if you're buying an annual, instead of getting the usual 2 months off, you get 4 months off. So it's 20% off the usual annual discount. So if you're interested, that should be running for about a week from now. Right, let's go and do ES. Now, what are we looking at here? We're looking at the same likely bull flags further on. We went a bit higher than I was expecting. We got up to more serious resistance just under 2750. That wasn't too high for me, I gotta say. But I think Stan was hoping to see it come through finish to the upside lower than that. Let's have a quick look at the 60-minute chart, just update it quickly. Just refreshing. All right. What did we do? We came up almost to the 50-hour moving average, which I mentioned quite pretty regularly as decent resistance in the event of a trend. We had two trend lines there, and we also had the open gap above. This is a very obvious place to reverse back down. We have reversed back down. I'm expecting it, in all probability, I'm expecting the flag to be done, but that's not confirmed until we see a break below rising support, which I've currently got in about the 2707 area. I think, hang on, just move that up and check. Yeah, 2707 approximately. So we'll see how that goes. We're almost there. Once that breaks, we should head down to 2700. The ideal target area is in the 2680 to 2700 area. And if we go lower, and that's an if, very much an if, but looking for probable support at this trend line here. I've got that down in the 2680 area. If we went lower, and this is support, but it's not an obvious target. But if we were to get this low, I've got decent rising support in the 2664 area. We're not thinking that's a target, and we're not expecting it to go that low. But if it goes that low, then I'll be looking at that. All right. Let's have a look at NQ. Now, NQ, I was talking about the obvious target being the backtest of this broken support at 71.59, and it almost made it and rejected hard from there. So this is a very nice looking bear flag. Hasn't broken down yet, just like the ES one, but if it breaks down, then we're looking at a move down to really, I think, the 69.55 area and maybe lower than that. If we do go lower than that, I've got the monthly pivot at 68.7142, and I've got rising support from the early April low in about these 68.15 area. So those were the, I'm not seeing either of those as being an actual target, but in the event we go significantly lower, those are the support levels to watch. All right, let's have a look at ZB. ZB, we're still in this channel. I've got the channel resistance slightly above the retest of the May high. I've got that at 145.27, and I've got this really at about the 146 area at the moment. Until we see some evidence for the downside, this is the obvious target. Stan's count was invalidated on the move on over 144.25, so I'm not seeing any obvious reason to think that we're not going to do a retest. I do, however, I would mention, have an alternate rising wedge option with resistance in about the 145.10 area, and we're getting close to that area now. I'm not seeing that as the likely target because I think really this retest is the likely target, but it's worth bearing in mind. Now, CL has gone higher. CL has gone a lot higher. CL is the most, well, I'm just going to, just to show you, I'm just going to pull out the daily chart and show you what really oil is doing something quite remarkable here. Bear with me a minute. Right, the daily 3SD, this is on WTIC, not on CL. If you look at the CL future, it's actually been testing the 3SD daily upper band at the highest today, but that actually only, that 3SD upper band, oh, hang on, sorry, I updated this chart, but it hasn't propagated yet. Let's just throw those on. Right, just thrown on the 3SD bands. Now that closed at 70.73. It's probably going to rise quite a lot today, but it's probably not going to rise as much as the market has risen. We've been testing really 73. This is, if you look, I was looking back over the last 3 years, and this is all the way back beyond the bear market low at 26.05. I was looking for a punch over the 3SD upper band in the last 3 years equivalent to this one. There isn't one. This is really, really oversold overbought relative to the Bollinger Bands. We are expecting to see at least some retracement soon. It's just a matter of where it tops out, but this is very, very extended, and it's extended in a way that we haven't seen, I would have thought, for 4 or 5 years. And given that it was in a downtrend for years before it reached this low, we may not have seen this in, well, possibly even a decade. I haven't looked back and checked that, but I can certainly see the last 3 years, and it hasn't happened here. So that being the case, I'm really expecting to see some retracement here. I don't know if it's going to get to 67 now, but it's going to get lower. And I would have thought at the very least, if we are doing one of the daily upper band rides where we are staying between the upper band and the 2SD upper band and the 3SD upper band, then that would normally, you would expect that to touch a daily upper band every day. And that's not likely to be any higher than 71.2 tomorrow. So we are going to see at least some retracement. So that's where we are there. Let's have a look at NG. NG, I was saying this morning that if we had a retracement and then a retest of the high, then we would get a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing. We're looking at that retracement here. We may be on the way back to that high, and as and when we retest this high here, we will have a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. I'm not expecting to see a higher high here, but I'm looking for a reversal. This looks like this rally is ending. If it's being nice, it's going to do a full retest of that high, get divergence going, and then, but I think NG is a pretty obvious short here. GC, I've redrawn it. This is the revised falling wedge support trend line. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and a slight overthrow here. This looks ready to go now. If we weren't already on a buy signal, we would have another one brewing here. No, we'd have another one fixed here. So this is fixed, reconfirmed, nice pattern setup. It's at support here, actually. I'm not sure it's going to go any lower. SI, I'm going to get to DX, but SI has already broken up from the likely wedge there. We're respecting this low here, 16.065 on the July future. I've got that. I'm like this to the upside, definitely. We haven't got a buy signal fixed yet, but I'm expecting one. And I like this higher. HG, I also like higher. This was the first one to break up. Well, obviously, yeah, before silver. And this had a nice falling wedge, broke up. Nice bottoming pattern here. And we've now got a 60-minute buy signal that's fixed and reconfirmed twice. So this looks like bottoming action. I'm not seeing any particularly good case for this going any lower. And as and when this breaks up, we've got a target in the 3.05 area where I have a possible larger IHS neckline. So looking for that. DX. Now, DX is back over the weekly pivot. The obvious next target is a retest of this high here in what I would expect to be a double top. So second high of a double top. USD is the mirror image here. We're back below weekly pivot, and this looks as though it should retest the lows. GBP USD is retesting the lows, or pretty close to it, and I'm expecting to see a full retest. I would note that I've got a possible, I've got a confirmed double top target in the 1.303 to 1.307 area approximately, and we're pretty damn close to that. We may well reach that on this move. USD JPY. If we get over this channel resistance, which I've gotten about the 110.67 area, then that would really support a retest of this high, which is, I have to say, in this particular sequence, the obvious next target. I was doubtful, but with DX breaking up and doing a retest of the high here, it's more on the cards than it was. So maybe it's not really moving the way I would expect it to move if it was going to deliver that retest yet. But it might just be, catching its breath or something. So we shall see. USD CAD, again, I'd be looking for a retest this high. Again, it's not been making as much progress towards it as I would expect. So maybe it's not going to do it, but that is the obvious next move. And that's what will give us, if it's seen, then that will give us the daily sell signals that I would like to see. Australian dollar. Australian dollar is retesting the lows, not quite made it yet, expecting it to make it. We made the 60-minute sell signal target, and we've now got a possible weak 60-minute buy signal brewing. I'm expecting to see a retest of this low, marginal lower low. That's probably going to be setting up a double bottom. NZUSD. NZUSD has already got a double bottom, which is getting weaker because it's continuing to go down, but it's still very much in play. We've got a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing here. I like the upside if it can turn. We shall see. KC looks like a bear flag forming. This could get up to this area here and then form a right shoulder and be an IHS. But right now, this looks like a bear flag forming, and it probably is a bear flag forming. SB has broken lower here. It hasn't made a low below this low yet. When it does, really on the bigger picture, this is likely to be a bear flag megaphone, and we should then see a retest of this low. Not sure we're going to see a retest, but we should go and see that retest, and we may well, so we shall see. CC, when it broke down, this has obviously been forming for a while. Bear flag megaphone broke down. It's got an obvious target to retest this low, which is now not far away. After we get there, that may be the second low of a double bottom, but there is a case for it going lower. ZW, possible double bottom here, but it didn't quite make the full retest of this low. It may well need to. So watching for that possible retest here would only need to go marginally lower. It only just missed it here. Very nice potential double bottom forming here. Corn, this is a nice cup with handle set up, and if it holds the weekly pivot as support, then there's no reason this can't break up. A break over 360 would look for the 382 area. Soy, nice cup with handle here too, but this has the weak pivot as resistance. If that stays resistance, then this may well go and retest the low. Otherwise, it could break up directly from here, and on a sustained break over 900, we would be looking for the 962 area. Right, cotton. This is a nice flag to the extent that I actually drew in this trend line with only one touch last night, and it came down and touched it. So this is a nice, very likely bear flag channel forming. As and when this breaks down, we should see a retest of this low, and possibly a little lower. We do have a double top target, which is a little lower, although it's an asymmetric double top, and it's already reached the first target, which would be equivalent to this one. So we won't necessarily go any lower, but I am expecting to see, in all probability, a breakdown from here and a retest of this low before this goes back up. That would, in all probability, set a 4-hour buy signal brewing. Right, let's have a look at lumber. Breaking up from declining resistance here. We're on a 2-hour buy signal. It hasn't reached the possible near-miss target yet. I'm expecting to see at least a retest this high. Is this a flag breaking up? No, it's too big, unfortunately. It's gone too low relative to the preceding trend. So I'm not reading this as a bear flag. However, that doesn't mean that if we get up to the monthly pivot and convert that into support that we can't retest the high. That is still possible, but it's just less likely than it would have been had this been a flag. Okay, great. Are there any more questions, guys? I'm going to stop the recording.